Talk, and welcome, Hunter Initiates. I'm Kara Blackwood, your assigned occultism professor. Today's training exercise or course will prepare you for what you will need to encounter out in the field. Not every entity will behave in the same manner, and knowing these differences could be what stands between life and death. This profession isn't for the faint of heart. So if at any time you find your stomach roiling in your gut, you want to crawl out of your skin, or hide under your bed, simply make way for the exit, go cuddle your favorite teddy, for this isn't the place for you. For all others brave enough to face their fears, let's open up your textbooks, grab your notebook and pen, and let us begin. This course is Intro to the Supernatural and Paranormal. This first section tells you about the history of all things supernatural. And the history of supernatural creatures is as old as human civilization in itself. Origins stemming from ancient myths and folklore all across the world. The origin of the word supernatural is from medieval Latin, from the words meaning above or beyond nature. Religious texts are even found to depict that these non-physical entities, like gods, demons, and souls of the dead, reflecting humans' attempts to explain the unknown and address their biggest fears. The oldest records of paranormal spans from ancient to earliest accounts found in Mesopotamia and Rome. Through the 19th century spiritualist movement and the start of organized investigation. Through the 19th century spiritualist movement and the start of investigation to the modern era with tech influences on ghost portrayals and the 2000 hunting boom shown on TV. Belief and sightings of the paranormal, including spirits, telekinesis, and alien encounters, has been shaped by cultures, tech, literature, and scientific developments across different eras, all the way into today. Each serves to explain nature, teaching moral lessons, providing cultural identity. Our predecessors believed that it was more important to study these entities and protect and hunt those down, to provide a safe world for all of you that you see here today. And the moral of what you may encounter will differ for each hunt you young aspiring hunters may experience. Above all, this course will help ensure that hopefully you'll be able to go into it unscathed. If you want more information about hunts later and actual real-life hunts with our hunters from the lodge, be sure to check out our other videos which cover exactly what could happen in the field. And be sure to like, share, subscribe, and hit that noti bell for more knowledge about these entities. Don't go out there with no information. Chapter 1, Section 1.1. Poltergeists. What are they? The entity known as poltergeist originates from the German polter, which means noise or racket. Geist, which means spirit, is a disembodied spirit or supernatural force known for specific malicious or disturbing phenomena, such as loud noises, sudden wild movements, or breaking of household items. Hide your good china. You don't want that broken. This entity is also found to be the cause of violent occurrences, like setting furniture and clothes on fire, or throwing rocks. Now, can anyone at all tell me how often these events happen? Anyone? You over there with the face? Anyone at all? No? Well, that is disappointing. I expect more from this fresh group of initiates. Such high hopes. Dashed. Anyways, the correct answer is the events themselves are said to be unpredictable in nature, very sporadic, and in most cases, repetitive. According to other hunter scholars, a poltergeist activity seems to focus on a certain member of the family, in most cases, an adolescent. Its object being harassment or, in rare scenarios, physically harming. This phenomenon will often cease if any strangers are in the vicinity, so it tends to be alone with its haunted victim. Reports show that a large majority of the victimized will suffer from hysteria. In most cases, poltergeist activities have been reported as natural phenomena. Examples, it will merely be like the normal sound like the normal creaking of the house, and that is where the victims make their first mistake. The entity is also ineffective if there are no objects to throw in the room they are in. In the field, these are the evidence that may be encountered, and they are included but not limited to spirit box, contact, ultraviolet, ectoplasm evidence, and ghost writing of any form. In the next section, we will delve into the tools needed to obtain these evidences. Now turn your pages, class, to the next section. Chapter 1, Section 1.2. Tools of the Hunt. The first form of evidence, a spirit box, can be found using, you guessed it, a spirit box. It is a piece of equipment that creates white noise by constantly cycling through various radio frequencies, which allow the ghost to communicate with hunters. Using the spirit box, the hunter must ask a series of questions, such as, how old are you? What room are you in? Do you want to play? When using it, all lights in the room must be off. This is very important. If the lights are not off, it will not work. The ghost will not respond. If a response occurs, a distorted voice will come through, and the display will show a ghost icon. If the entity responds to only those alone, the spirit box won't activate if there are others present. Ultraviolet left by entities are known to be handprints left on doors and light switches, or footprints you can find in salt. It can be tracked by using a UV flashlight, which is activated like a standard flashlight. When shown on surfaces, the prints will show up as a greenish glow. Alternatively, a UV glow stick may be used as well to reveal the prints. The final evidence of ghost writing can be tracked by using a notebook or a ghost writing book, if you prefer. Both do the same thing. The hunter must place the book open, like this, and on a surface for the ghost to interact with it. If the book is closed, no detections can be made. If the entity is capable, the book will rise, and frantic scribbling will be seen. The entity might also throw the book if it doesn't have that evidence, or if it's trying to hide evidence. Now that we've covered how this entity behaves, allow me to share with you with the inspiring hunter's story from the past. A story of caution, if you will, to all those who have ventured out after. This story begins with a hunter initiate, much like yourselves. This initiate, Sally Major, we will call her, age 24, born in a small town in New Orleans, had the most avid love for the supernatural, how they behaved, how many of them were in existence, how they affected history, and the many forms that they take. Her time at the academy was mostly spent with her nose stuck in books, reenacting types of hunts, or sketching different forms of the supernatural while atop a large oak tree on campus. I am truly sad for this one, especially for the promise she showed as a hunter. We had such high hopes for her. Her knowledge and passion for the field of study no one could hold a candle to. Sally was one of our most treasured and promised hunter stars. As the saying goes, the higher you fly, the farther you fall. And oh boy, did she fall hard. Her first dozen hunts went without any snags or mistakes, and those on her team of hunters marveled at her strength and requests made for her to help fresh hunters on the job. Now for her fall. It was the year of 2015, the season fall, in full swing. Windy gusts blowing the trees and causing waves in a houseboat in Louisiana. Miss Sally was tasked to hunt a possible poltergeist haunting in the family of three, mother, father, and son, who had lived there most of their lives, until they started having mysterious happenings occur over a week's time. The father spoke in a bar to friends one drunken night, and hunters caught wind by overhearing the conversation of them laughing and blowing off the poor father like it was a joke. Sally loaded up her equipment once word of the job was posted. Her handlers weren't worried for her, so they sent her off to do the job solo. And only the most experienced ones ever get sent out solo, because it is very dangerous alone. This would be her first and, unbeknownst to her, last hunt for a poltergeist. She had found the location of the entity to be located in one of the lower deck cabins, which details of the briefing told her was the parents' bedroom. Evidence of the entity speaking through the spirit box had been found, and she was confident and excited to discover more. But just then, the doors behind her to the room creaked. She jumped and giggled at herself, and then skipped to check for UV on the door itself. Sally squealed in delight. A bright, illuminating handprint showed on the door's surface. She pulled out the ghost writing book to gather her final bit of evidence. Something stopped her, though. A sudden urge to sketch out that pristine handprint for her to catalog and show off later to her hunter friends. Sally thought to herself, no one specified she couldn't use the ghost writing book to do her sketch. She would just make sure to remove the page later. No harm, no foul. After all, if it was a dangerous thing, someone would have said something, surely. She was gravely mistaken. She gets to work, focused and concentrated on her quick sketch, while also keeping one ear to listen for ghost activity. The book opens and she admires her handiwork. Heh, she chuckles to herself as she thinks of the pun. Handiwork. You get it? Because she had a hand. No one? Okay. Then all of a sudden, the book is yanked from her grasp, slamming closed, and flying across the room into the hallway. Sally instantly forgets her training and bolts to get the book. Her sacred sketch still inside, and she was not losing that. It keeps getting flung further towards the other side of the hallway. Sally giving chase. The writing book reaches the outer door and close to the railing of the side of the houseboat. She is gasping and giggling at this point at the absurdity of the situation, thinking her training never prepared her for this scenario. She lets out a squeal as the book gets thrown into the air again. She wasn't going to let it go this time. She uses the rest of her considerable strength to push forward in a dead sprint to the door and out by the railing, not at all concerned of her surroundings at all. Sally lunges upwards in a gazelle-like jump, truly majestic, and as her fingers graze the spine surface, missing the book just barely, and finds that her body is only surrounded by air, with the boat's surface now behind her. She lets out a scream and plummets down into the murky, watery depths. She scrambles and scrambles, kicking her feet, trying to reach the surface, not thinking her mouth is still open, screaming, letting in more and more water as she struggles against the high wave from the windy fall day. More water reaches her throat, and she is losing her strength, fighting and fighting until she couldn't fight any longer. Hours and hours pass by before her team realizes she hasn't made it back yet. They scour the scene for evidence of what happened to the star hunter Sally. They spend the day they search to no avail. The only evidence is a single piece of paper that lies in a small puddle of water of a perfectly rendered handprint. Now, class, I hope you take that as a lesson. I hope you took detailed notes. There won't be a pop quiz, no passing go, no collecting 2 million. Because after this course's completion, you will be thrust out into the field where this knowledge will be directly applied. If you have any questions or concerns, please place in the comments. Any questions or concerns, please place them in the comments. And remember, hunters, you are all that stands between safety and danger when it comes to the paranormal. So until class is in session again, stay safe, protect the innocent, trust your instincts, and remember, the hunt is never done. Happy hunting.